Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Now today I'm going to be reviewing one of my favourite albums of the whole 1970s. It's Damn the Torpedoes by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. So in this video I will show you the vinyl and the CD and then go over each of the album songs as well. I'll give each song a score out of 10 and then those will be used to give us an overall total score for the album. So this was Tom Petty's third album, released on the 19th of October in 1979. Back around the time of recording this album, Tom Petty was in a lawsuit with his record company. Basically what happened was he was on a independent label called Shelter Records for his first two albums, but they had been sold or taken over by MCA, one of the biggest record companies in the world at that point in time. And so they bought Shelter Records, which also meant that they took ownership of Tom Petty's song publishing, what meant that they could choose when the songs were used in films, and they'd also get a cut of the royalties as well, which just really infuriated Tom. So as a way to get out of his contract with MCA, he declared bankruptcy as a means of trying to get out of his recording contract. However, Tom Petty was such a big artist, especially in America, at this point in time, the MCA really didn't want to let him go. So they made him an offer, said he could have his song publishing back and also have his own record label, Backstreet Records, back in return for staying with them. This album is also notable because it was a change in producer for the Heartbreakers. Basically, the last two albums have been produced by a guy called Denny Cardell, and however, they mutually felt that he had taken them as far as he could in terms of producing them. So Tom was looking for a new producer, and he came across this guy called Jimmy Iovine, and he liked the sound what he had produced on albums by the likes of Bruce Springsteen and Patti Smith. So he asked this new producer Jimmy Iovine to come and work with him on this album. This did, however, cause a little bit of tension within the band, especially with Stan Lynch, the drummer, and Ron Blair, the bassist, feeling that he was having too much involvement with the recording of these songs, as Jimmy Iovine had brought his own engineer along to the sessions, and he spent time actually in the studio suggesting ideas and coming up with new things to make these songs even better than they were, and very much coordinating the whole sessions. Despite this though, the album was a massive success in the American charts. It was really a US breakthrough for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, reaching number 2 in the Billboard charts, being held off by only Pink Floyd's The Wall. Held it off for about 6 weeks, which is really bad because I'm not a fan of The Wall. This should have really got a #1 album, certainly deserves it, but it would then later be certified triple platinum with its sales of over 3 million copies. However, the album surprisingly didn't do very well at all over here in the UK. Unlike the Heartbreakers' last two releases, what had pretty good chart placings in the UK, and so UK and Europe was the place where they first found success. This stalled at number 57 in the UK charts. It's really shocking considering how great an album this is, and also none of the singles from this album even charted in the UK. So yeah, pretty disappointing in the UK though, but so in America this was a real breakthrough for them. It got a lot of critical praise on release, and its popularity has endured over the years. It was ranked at 313 on Rolling Stone's 500 Best Albums list recently. So yeah, it is a really terrific album. Right, so I'm now just going to show you the vinyl, but first the CD here. Just got the CD here because I love this album so much. Wanted to get it onto my iPod just a bit to play in the car and that. So there's the CD. From what I remember, this book wasn't anything too special. I think you get the lyrics in here to the songs, and basically just the same sort of artwork what you get with the vinyl album. Here's the vinyl album here. Fantastic cover. There's the back of it there with the rest of the band on it, and in here is the inner sleeve. Great picture there, and another picture of the band. And here we are on the label here on MCA Shelter Records. Right, so like as I said like earlier, Backstreet Records was like the label what Tom Petty like was given, and I don't believe that like they released like anything else apart from like Tom Petty's albums, rather right, which like only used like up to about, I think Southern Accents was the last one to be released like on this Backstreet Records label. But I don't think that they had like any other artists like on like the label. I think it was just used for just Tom Petty albums. Anyway, I'm now just going to go over all of the album songs. So we open up with the song Refugee, which I'm giving a 10 out of 10 to. Cracking start to the album, really just comes in with this amazing like guitar sound and like fantastic like organ playing from like Ben Montench, like the Heartbreakers keyboard player. Just comes crashing in like as a song, and like as soon as it starts, like you know you're in for like a great fantastic album. Band are like really tight like on this song. This was recorded in like a single live take. Like it was very important for like the band to get that sort of like that spontaneity like about it, and and to capture like that real energy of like a live performance. Then like Mike Campbell would like go in and like overdub like some more like guitar parts. It is just a fantastic song. Was the second single from the album, reached number 15 in the American charts. So yeah, just a brilliant start to the album, and like one of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers' very best songs. Next track in is called Here Comes My Girl. Giving this a 9 out of 10. This song took a little bit of growing on me because it's sort of like it starts with like this sort of like spoken word verse thing, what like I never used to really like, or like I never used to really get it, but it has that fantastic guitar riff going on like behind it, what just sort of builds up, and then that chorus is just great. The piano playing from Ben Montench again is just amazing, just really lifts it up, and like it's a very like uplifting chorus to this song, very similar to like the 60s group The Byrds. And like it just shows like what like great production from like Jimmy Iovine can like do to like a song which like maybe like without it wouldn't be like quite as good, but certainly just like the right like instrumental accompaniment to like this song really just makes it something else like altogether. So I love this song. The third track is called Even the Losers, another 10 out of 10 for me. Just a great flowing song, sort of starts off with like that nice like guitar riff, sort of like these like chiming 12-string Rickenbackers, just sounds so great. Then just breezes along with very sort of like youthful, nostalgic lyrics. Sort of like the first line is like, it was nearly summer, I sat on your roof, we smoked cigarettes and stared at the moon. So very sort of like American Dream sort of like lyrics. I like really like this song. It is just like a great sort of flowing song. Really can't fault it at all. Now the next song up is called Shadow of a Doubt, and I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. It's just a great solid rocking song. One of my absolute favourites on the album. The band just sounds so tight like on this song. The only maybe like negative thing I could say about it is like the lyrics. They're quite linear lyrics. They're quite like she's got me thinking about it. She's got me on the fence with a little bit of mystery. She's a complex kid and she's always been sort of figured out. They're quite like, well, not repetitive, but they're very sort of linear. They sort of follow like a very simple structure. Quite similar like to Jeff Lynne's song like Dirty to the Bone from like his like new album, like sort of like very sort of simple lyrics, but the actual performance what the band puts in on this song more than makes up for that, to like the point where like I'm saying that this could well be my favourite like on the album, because it is just such a great rocking song. And there's also a clip of like the band performing this live on like YouTube, I think it's like a Saturday Night Live clip. And like it is one of like the best live performances I've like ever seen. They're just so like in like the element like with it, and it's just amazing performance. So like I certainly like, recommend like you check that out. And like yeah, just like a fantastic song. And then closing side one, we have the song Century City, which I'm giving a 7 out of 10 to. Now you might think that that's been like a little bit harsh, and like certainly like thinking about it like I probably am for like the actual song, which is like a good decent track, but I would say is like my least favourite on the album. The reason why I like I bumped it down to like a 7 is because like by this point in like the album, the sort of like the style what the song's done in, like the sort of like sort of like the solid rocking style, those sort of like Rickenbacker guitars, sort of like faster paced songs, is sort of growing a little bit stale, and like there's not too much variety like in side one. Thankfully that does change a good side two of this album, but certainly by this point it's like nothing what we haven't like heard before like from this album. Although like the lyrics are like a little bit different like on this song. Century City was like the place where like they went for like all like the lawsuits and that, where like all like the courts were. But for me it would be like my least favourite like on the album. And there's an outtake from like the sessions for this, a song called Surrender, which I think could have really fitted like instead of like this song here. Like I could definitely give like that song about like an 8 or like a 9 like out of 10 for me.
Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that.
Now on to side 2, opens up with Don't Do Me Like That, which I'm giving a 10 out of 10 to. Maybe slightly more commercial sounding song, much more catchy, fun song, but still very much rooted in like their classic sound and style. Was the debut single from the album and reached number 10 on like the American charts and number 3 in Canada. So yeah, just like an amazing song. Love the sound of it, like the like Ben Montench like organ playing, just great, and like just like very short song as well, but just it's just a perfect track really. The next one up is called You Tell Me. And I'm also giving this a 10 out of 10. It is a nice change of pace like for the album. It's a much more sort of slower one, but it is still like very much like their sort of style. By this point in Tom Petty's songwriting, like it is developing like a little more from like the first 2 albums. This one about like the breakup like of a relationship. Love Tom's vocals on this one here. He sings it like with such like authority and like power on it, and like a really great sort of slightly moody like atmosphere to like the music on this track. So yeah, like one of like my absolute favourites from the album. And like again, a slightly lesser known song from the album. Second to last track now is called What Are You Doing in My Life? And I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. Another upbeat, frantic rocker, but like kind of similar like Century City. It is kind of like very similar in style to many of like the other songs like on this album. But like I do love this song. It is a very catchy song, and like a great tight performance what like the band puts into like this song here. Very sort of like spontaneous, has that live feel about it. For me though, there's a track on like the follow-up album to this called A Thing About You, which is very much done in like the same sort of style to this song, which I do slightly prefer. But I'm not going to take like too much like away from this song because it is a really great track. And then we close with the song Louisiana Rain, which I would maybe say is like quite a long song. It's about 5 or 6 minutes long. But like it does start like with this with like these weird sort of like sound effects like at the start of it, which sort of like dotted like throughout this album. Like we do get like these weird bits of like studio chatter and like little bits here and there, which the first time like I listened to the album like I didn't get exactly, but like now it's sort of like it adds like a bit of like personality to like the record, and like gives it like that sense of like spontaneity. Like these songs here, like they were all done live in like the studio. Like it gives it like that sort of feeling about it. As far as like the actual song like Louisiana Rain, it is a great swooping ballad to close the album. Lyrics are like really good, like some of like their best lyrics like on this album for me, like quite like desperate like lyrics again, like about like a breakup of like a relationship. Like I'm out here like in like the Louisiana rain keeps like falling at my feet. And like overall, like it's a nice change of pace like for the album. Like it just brings everything to like a nice calm close, which is really good. So overall, it would be a score of 91% for this album here. Really fantastic. Very consistently great album, I have to say. So many great songs there. 4 of like the 9 songs are on Tom Petty's greatest hits. That's really all like you need to know about this. It is just a true highlight of like his whole catalogue. and like all like subsequent albums like what he put out would like always be like compared to this one. Kind of like overall, like the song quality on here is like really consistent and very high quality songs like on this album, and like the production as well is just great. Jimmy Iovine really adds something to Tom Petty's sound, but really fits like in like with like his and like the Heartbreakers style. And like it's very timeless sound as well. It doesn't sound like a 70s or like early 80s record. It's like really like the drums, I think especially, sound really timeless for me. Very sort of clean and like polished sound, but still has like a lot of energy and like the elements of like it being like a live band performing like in like the studio and like actually like enjoying themselves. It still sounds fresh today, this album. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this review. Certainly for me, compared with Tom Petty's other albums, this would be in like my top 3 definitely. Like other ones I got there, Full Moon Fever, probably like a more well-known album in like UK, and like also for that Wildflowers as well would be like would be up there for me as well. But certainly I can like understand like why this was such a big hit for Tom Petty like when it was released, and like is like one of like his most characteristic and like highly regarded albums like of his whole back catalogue. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have like any suggestions for future album reviews, please leave them down below, and I will see you all for the next review. Goodbye.
When I reach